This is Heather Sides. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! And I come to you every Wednesday night to bring you 3 new ideas and show you how I made them. So give me just a second here. I'm gonna pull this up on my bigger monitor so that I can follow along with the chat. Perfect. It looks like I've got it. Great. And it doesn't look like anyone's joined us quite yet, but I'm sure that people will be along shortly. So while we're waiting here, I want to tell you or remind you that the new annual catalog came out today. So if you don't have a demonstrator that you already work with and you would like a copy of that, all you need to do is send me a private message here on Facebook, or you can email me at stamphappenings@gmail.com. And just let me know you need a catalog, and of course give me your address to mail it. Looks like Marcia and Kathy are here. Hello guys, good to see you. I was just reminding everybody that the new catalog, annual catalog just came out, and I would love to share it with you and show it to you on screen if you haven't seen it yet. I lost mine. So I'm waiting, I'm gonna be ordering new ones on Friday, and then I'll have one that I can share and show. But in the meantime, we're just gonna have to pretend. But remember, you can always go to my website, heathersides.stampinup.net, and you can see it online. So that is always an option. And when you go online, there are all sorts of online exclusives, things that are not in the catalog, so you can see even more things when you go to my website. So it looks like a few more people have joined us. Hey, Judy. Hey, Kathy, welcome. Oh, Marcia, thank you for sharing this video. If you share this video, this live, on your own feed, that helps me a lot. It just helps get the word out there to let people know about these lives. And I think many of you will agree. Hey, Marcia, welcome. I think many of you will agree that we've kind of built up a fun little community here. And so to draw other people into that and continue to grow our community is kind of fun. So as part of being a part of a community, it's communicating with one another. And so I encourage everybody to chit chat. Hey, Talina, welcome. And Frank and Charlie and Ghost and Minnie. So Talina, one of Talina's cats, is it Charlie? Loves to watch me when I do my lives. He plunks down in front of the TV and he watches. It's really a crack up. She sent me several pictures of him doing that. So anyway, part of being a part of the community is communicating with one another, with me, whatever. So if you have questions, if you want to answer questions, if you have ideas, any of the above, make sure you're commenting, whether you're watching this live or watching a replay or watching it on YouTube. Make sure you make those comments. At the very least, say hi, tell me where you're from, because everybody who comments, their name gets thrown into a drawing that I will award the following week, and that person will get a prize. So speaking of that, this week's winner is Virginia Petrowski. She's one of our, oh, you can't even see it, up high, see, right here in front of my face. She is one of our viewers on YouTube, and she last week wasn't able to watch live. She told me she had to watch it, the replay. So I love that both options are available. Anyway, congratulations, Virginia. I don't think I have your address. I looked, I didn't see it. So if you want to email me at stamphappenings@gmail.com or send me a private message on Facebook with your address, then I'll pop this in the mail to you. So again, congratulations, Virginia. Okay, so I'm going to turn this around. We're going to get started and do some stamping. And holy cow, I just realized I was right up in that camera. Boy, if you want a close-up of my face, there you had it. Okay, so let's turn this around and see what I've got for you this week. Okay. Oh, good. You got to see my chubby legs, too. That's good. Good, good. So let's see. We've got... Hey, Mary, welcome. Let's see who else we've got. Let's see. If a kit is, okay, so Kathy's got a question. If a kit is currently unavailable, how can you check when it will be available? That's a really good question. If you are a demonstrator, you can log in to the, what do they call it? You know, on the demonstrator website, and there's a place in the ordering section where you can see what the current status, I think it's called the inventory status report, and you can see what is low inventory. You can see what is, I think you can see what's high inventory that they, really like to push. And you can see when they anticipate something coming in. Now that date is not 100% solid. Sometimes the dates change. They can't control that, but at least it gives you a guideline. Now I don't know if they do that with the kits, because it was my understanding that with the kits, once they're gone, they're gone. Maybe they've changed that, but that was my understanding, that they bring them in and they only have a limited quantity of them. And once they've all been purchased, that's it. So I can certainly check into that if you would like me to, and I can get back to you on that. So let's see. Hey, Susan, welcome. Hey, Marcy, hello. And Kathy said that the kit was not included on the inventory status report. So I'm really not too surprised, because of the fact that I was thinking that it's just whatever is in stock. And Marcy just said that anything that's online only does not hit the inventory status report. So I don't know if that means that it won't be returning or not. I just know that means you won't find it on the report. So hey, Robin. Hey, John. Welcome. Okay, so let's get going on this week's cards. I've got some fun ones for you. Friday is payday, and I'm going to be ordering a few of the new things that we got. We've got new in colors. Of course, there's always new and amazing stamp sets, some really cute ones. You know how I am about the cutesy stamp sets. I love them, and there's a few. So there's some changes, and so I'm excited to share some of those new products with you. So this first card is using the translucent florals. I love this set. And, the funny thing is, I loved this from the moment I saw it. And then I got it, and I couldn't figure out what to do with it. I'm sure I'm not alone in that, not just with this stamp set, but others. I've had it happen before, and I'm sure you have too. Pinterest can be your best friend. If you get one of these stamp sets that you had to have it, and then you get it and can't figure out what to do with it, go to Pinterest. And I just use, in my search criteria, I do the name of the stamp set followed by the words Stampin' Up. And then I get all sorts of great ideas for that set. If nothing else, what it will do is just kind of jog your brain a little bit and give you a little bit of inspiration. So I definitely recommend, if you are not currently familiar with Pinterest, using it for ideas and inspiration, it's super easy. Check it out. You'll get lots of great ideas. Let's see. Talina just said, the inventory status report is public. I did not know that either. So that is great. So if any of you are not demonstrators and you would like to know how to find that, let me know and I will figure it out and make sure that you can see it. I'm sure you can see it through my website somehow. And then, it looks like Marcy didn't know that either. So apparently, Talina points to Eric for knowing something that none of the demonstrators knew. Kathy mentioned she has a hard time getting the flower to stamp nicely on this. And, Kathy, I've run into the same issue if my ink pad is too inky. So on the lines that are darker, those little outlines, it just seems to get so much ink there that it looks kind of blurry and blobby and fuzzy, and I'm not as happy with my image. So I wonder if that might be what you're running into, if maybe your ink pad is too inky. So maybe try when you jog your stamp or march your stamp across your ink pad, maybe do it a little bit lighter, see if that makes a difference. Okay, so we're also using the coordinating dies, translucent florals, and then of course stylish shapes. I'm using this one a couple times tonight. It's a good standby to have. Okay, Talina says she barely presses when stamping with this one. I said to ink up the stamp lighter. She says to actually stamp the image lighter. So try playing with a couple of those ideas. Okay, so this card, here we go. And I did pull this off of Pinterest. I, made a couple little changes here and there. Oh, look, the center of my flower. We can't have this. It was escaping, you guys. We cannot have nomadic flower centers. There we go. Show it who's boss. Okay, and the envelope. I really love these colors together. It's Moody Mauve, Pretty Peacock, and Crumb Cake. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll show you the inside. That's the inside of the card. So let's get started. Okay, so your card base is your standard card base. It's a half of a sheet of cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we fold it in half. And then just take your bone folder and get a nice crisp edge there. Set it aside. Let's do our envelope first. And you're going to take a piece of your scrap paper and stick it right under the flap of the envelope. On one of my other cards tonight, I'll show you why you put that there, because I stamped mine and then I had a couple quick changes to make to it on this other card, and I didn't put this under the flap and I stamped on the envelope. So I'm thinking, hope it matches up well when I actually have the card in there so it doesn't look goofy. Okay, so let's get the inks out. Again, we're using Moody Mauve, Pretty Peacock, and Crumb Cake. And then we're going to use this stamp and this stamp and this stamp, and then of course the little happy birthday. Okay, so let's do the envelope. We don't need that for the envelope, so let's just go ahead and get started. Start with our Moody Mauve. Okay, I took Talina's tip there, and I did not press as hard when I stamped, and that does seem to help. Okay, so I did those little stamps, or images, I guess I should say. Thanks, Marcy. I wish I could take full credit for the card, but like I said, I kind of cased it from online, from Pinterest. Okay, so then get our crumb cake. Hang on, Lucy. Okay, so now I'm just kind of trying to put a little bit of this filler in here. Oh, that was good. I rocked my stamp and it didn't quite do what I had wanted it to do. Let's see if I could line it up. I probably can't. Not with that kind of stamp, but that's okay. It's the envelope, so it's not like super critical. I mean, I don't want it to be super boogery either, but, and boogery is an official technical stamping term, just so you know. Okay, now we're doing the leaves in the Pretty Peacock. And this ink pad is very, very juicy. So again, I used Talina's tip of stamping a lot lighter, and that really is helping. So thanks for the idea, Talina. There. So we just got a little bit of everything going on there. One thing I have found though about this style of stamp where it's got the shading sort of built into the stamp itself, they're a little bit harder to clean. The ink just wants to stay inside all those tiny little nooks and crannies. And so I can't just, normally I have my little chamois in the case, and I just have to go like that to clean a stamp. But with all those tiny little nooks and crannies in the stamp, I have to do it a little more manually like that. See, and I already have ink. I actually probably got that off the chamois. Oh, that bugs me. Okay, so let's move our envelope aside. Let's get started on the card itself. And a couple pieces that we can put together just to get the extra pieces out of the way would be the card. We'll take the card base. We're going to take the Moody Mauve. This piece right here is 4 1/4 by, it's 4 by 5 1/4. And then this piece is just 1/8 of an inch smaller on each side. So it's 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And I'm just going to glue them together. I tell you guys this every time, but for anybody who's new, I am using our Stampin' Seal. This is a really nice, strong, I'm using the Seal Plus, I'm sorry. We offer regular and then Plus, and I just go with the Plus. It's a little more expensive, but it is a little bit stronger adhesive. And I like the dispenser of it. It's nice and easy. But we offer all sorts of different types of adhesives. Some are very specific in their use, and some of them, it's just a matter of what you happen to prefer or have closest to you when you grab it to glue something on. You'll see me using a variety of adhesives because, again, different uses, or sometimes it's just whatever happens to be closest to me to grab. Let's see. A bunch of comments came in, but my thing didn't scroll down. Hey, Nell, welcome. I'm just getting started on the cards. You haven't missed much. So, okay, I'm going to set this aside now because, you know, I can do all sorts of damage when I have things in front of me that shouldn't be there. This is the inside of the card, so let's go ahead and do this one. And all I did for this is open back up my Moody Moth. And you could keep the ink pads open as you're doing this if you want. I don't, just because I tend to accidentally drag things across them or, you know, whatever, and I just make a mess. So I can't be trusted with nice things, so I keep mine closed. Okay, so I've just done the flowers a little bit in the corner there. I think I want to fill in that little tiny white spot right there. So I'm now going to clean my stamp. I always like to put something on the inside of the card. I think it just kind of pulls the color through. Another demonstrator that I used to watch always said the party shouldn't stop when you open the card. And I like thinking of it that way. That I just like to have something that goes all the way through. And that's part of the reason that I also like to stamp my envelopes. So, hey, Jenny, welcome. Okay, so now I'm going to open up the crumb cake again. And I'm going to, I don't know what this is, a little, I don't know, is it a weed? I don't know what it is. But anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and stamp a little bit here. And I am, see how I'm stamping it kind of twice, and that way I'm getting a little bit of a shaded look as well. See how some is just a little darker than others? That's called stamping off, because you are stamping once by, you're stamping off the ink. You're getting the ink off of the stamp when you stamp the first time, so that it creates a lighter image the second time. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put this on the inside of my card. I'm very excited, you guys. Yesterday, I found a queen-size bed on Facebook Marketplace. Some of you guys know I have been sleeping in a twin-size bed with a full-size dog, and I'm losing. So I found the bed. Now, it's going to be a little while before I can get a mattress for the bed, but I'm off to a good start of actually having a bed that has room for both me and my beast of a dog. Okay, so let's do a little more stamping here. Got our little, this is the banner. Let's go ahead and stamp that and then put it somewhere where I can't lose it. Which, I mean, I don't know there really is such a thing as a place I can't lose something. Anyone else like that? Okay, so I'm inking up the stamp. And I find that these stamps that have the really fine font like that, I do ink them up very lightly. And again, stamp very lightly, like Talina suggested on the flowers. And when you stamp it, go straight down and straight up. Because, oh, see, I didn't even do it well enough to get all of the word in there, but that's okay. Because you don't want your stamp to rock at all, because it will make it kind of smudged with that really fine font. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside so I can't lose it. Hang on, got to let out the dog. No, I'm not letting you out. I lied. There's people out there. You just went out to bark at them. Okay. So now we're going to, I just have a big, this is just a quarter of a sheet because I'm going to stamp a few different images, because then I'm going to do some die cutting. So first I want a couple of the flowers. I'm trying to make sure I give myself room for the die to fit on there. I'm going to clean off my stamp. I should stamp this now because it's going to take up the most room, so I want to make sure I have enough room for it. I love this color, but I don't know if it's just because my ink pad is so inky, but I always am reluctant to use it because I get the ink everywhere. Okay. And because it's a darker color, of course, it's harder, you know, it washes off like every other color, washes off your skin and such, but you know, you have to really wash it. You can't just wipe it off. Okay, but you know, now that I say that, if I don't have ink all over my hands, would you even know that I had been stamping? Yes, Marcy, I'm moving up with my big girl bed. Okay, so now I want to do a couple of those little weed things, whatever they are. So I'll put one right there. We'll put one right there. Okay. And we're going to put this aside. Now, when I am doing several images that have to be die cut, I do like to take a bigger piece and put them all on one because it makes it really easy to just cut out as many of them as I can in one pass, so it doesn't take me forever to die cut everything. I've got my Post-it tape that I use to hold down my dies. So first, let's get that leaf. If you have never used our die cut machine, it really is very simple. When I first got mine, I got it, I was excited by it, I loved the idea. And then I got it and stared at it because I was really kind of intimidated by it, about how to use it. And on one hand, it seemed very complicated. And on the other hand, the fact that it's so simple is what made it feel complicated to me. So what I recommend is go ahead and get it and then just dive in there and use it. One of the plates actually has a nice little set of instructions that shows you how. So don't be afraid of it. Just go ahead and bite the bullet and you'll find out that it really is very simple. Okay, so now I've got one more to tape down because of course I only have one of each of these dies. So it is going to require 2 pass-throughs, but that's not a huge deal. And when you do it this way, it is easier if you use the bigger machine. We have okay, I'm going to speak in English now, okay? We have a big one and a little one, and a piece this big doesn't fit in the little one very well. Okay, but the little one is about half the cost of the big one. So if you're looking to save cost, it is a good way to start because most of our dies do fit in the littler machine. There's a few that don't, but our catalog and online, it tells you if you need the little machine. So now I'm just going to feed this through. I'm going to move this while I set everything up again. And peel the tape off. This is why I use Post-it tape because it comes right off and it'll come off of the stamped image as well. So there's one. And of course you can reuse it so you don't need 1,000 different pieces. Ooh. Okay. Let's see. Now we got this one. I don't know how well lined up it was. Oh, it lined up just fine. Got a little bit of my tape here. This piece stuck on there, didn't peel off quite as nicely as they usually do. Or as it usually does, I should say. There we go. And now let's take this one. There. And we're just going to line this one up again. We're going to get these last 2. But see how by doing this, I only have to pass it through twice. Now, even if I had done these all separately on separate pieces of paper, I guess, I still could have laid them all down on the plate together and fed them through as one. But it's just easier on one sheet. And I'm all about doing things the easy way. Okay, let's see. What's everybody's weather like these days? Here in the Pacific Northwest, our weather is crazy. Like Mother Nature really needs to take her meds because one day it's really nice, sunny, and then the next day it's 34 degrees. I don't understand. Okay, a little bit of the adhesive stuck on my image there. So I'm just taking an adhesive eraser to get it off before I put down my dye. Adhesive eraser, this isn't something Stampin' Up! Sells. I just got mine on Amazon for a couple of bucks. Okay, now let's line this little guy up. Now some of these, like ones that have narrow stems like this, I have found, see that little dot there? I don't really know the purpose of the dots, except sometimes I'll use my little take your pick tool if my die is, if my image or my little cutout is still stuck in the die, and I'll poke those through those little holes to get it to come off. But the other thing you can do is you can line it up. You can't see, probably because the color is so light, but what I did is I could see the little stem there, and I lined it up with that little dot so that I knew that I had it going, I had it lined up from left to right there. So that's kind of helpful. I don't know if that's its intent, but that's what I use it for, and it seems to work. Okay, let's pass this through again. Oh, Mary says it's raining. Where are you at again, Mary? And Talina says it's 37 where she's at. She's not far from me. She's just on the other side of the state. Oh, Jenny says it's 80s today and then possible rain. 80s. Where are you at, Jenny? Because I'm coming to stay with you for a while. Susan has 77 degrees. I'll visit you while I'm visiting Jenny. Oh, and Marcy's weather is hormonal. She says it's a nightmare down there. So yeah, Mother Nature is kind of wacky this year. It's like she can't decide what she wants to do, which, I guess I can relate to that. Okay, so get this one off. There we go. This weekend, I went and saw the new Ghostbusters movie with my mom, and it is really good. If you're thinking about going, I recommend it. I think they did a great job of, they didn't try to recreate the original. I think that's where sometimes they go wrong with sequels, is they're trying to recreate the original, and it just doesn't work. It's a whole different story, but it's true to the old story, and I think they did a phenomenal job with it. Okay, so put this away so I don't lose them, because I lose stuff. That's what I do. Okay, and now we're gonna piece these together. Now I like to lay mine down on my paper first and just get a feel for kind of, okay, how do I want everything to lay? How do I like it? So that then when I go to place everything, I know what I want to do. Another little tip I'm going to give you has to do with using the dimensionals, because this is all popped up with dimensionals. Dimensionals are little octagonal foam adhesive pieces that pop it up off the card. It gives it just a little dimension, thus the name. Kathy, I totally recommend it. It's so, so, so good. Okay, it's fun. Like I said, and it's a great family movie. It's just so many movies anymore. You don't know if you can take your family or not. Okay, so the first piece we're going to lay down on here is this one, this leaf. And I'm going to put dimensionals in all the places where I feel like it is needed. You know me, and I typically like to put a whole bunch of dimensionals on things. With this, when I'm doing something like this, I don't put as many dimensionals on a single piece, because pieces are going to be overlapping and sticking under one another. And when I have already laid a piece down and try to lay another one next to it or under it, where it has to go under it a little bit, I need there to be room for movement. And if there's too many dimensionals, you just can't get under there. So let's see, let's put this right about there. Now, when I go to lay any other pieces, now I have to start paying attention to where I'm laying it, because I don't want to double up on the dimensionals. So for example, on this piece right here, let's see, I don't want to put a dimensional on this side of the flower, because it's going to then pop it up on the leaf. And I want it flat with the leaf, but popped off the card, right? So I'm just gonna put dimensionals right here on the side that is not touching the leaf. See, kind of like that. Now we'll do the next one. I grabbed my Post-it tape. Dimensionals, here they are. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the next one. And again, I don't wanna put dimensionals on this side because there's already something there. So I just wanna put a dimensional on this edge over here. This just really isn't as spread out as I had it before. I think I'm gonna move this guy a little bit because I want it spread out a little more. And it looks like I do kind of need one more dimensional, or that's gonna move around a lot. So I'm gonna put it right there. There, that'll just help hold it in place. Now I've got these little guys. Now these dimensionals are a little bit too big. You can cut them in half, that works. But we also have little mini dimensionals. They are so much smaller and they're a lot easier to use for little things like this. So I usually just take my take your pick tool, because I got fat little fingers, and I figure out where I'm going to want this. I'm gonna want it right about there, like that. So I'm just going to put the dimensionals like in these top pieces there. You want to have enough there that it's going to hold it in place, but again, not so much that it's bumping into the other dimensionals under the stuff you've already laid down. These little ones, I think, are harder to get that little backing off though, without peeling them back off, peeling the whole dimensional off. There we go. Okay, so let's see. I kind of like this guy right about there. That looks good. Whoops. Whoops, stop that. There, just like that. Let's do the other one. And just for giggles, we're gonna see where I can put it in. Yeah, that looks good. So again, I think I'm just gonna do the top 3 on this one. And you can use your take your pick tool to get the little backings off as well. For me, I find that easier on the big ones, on the big dimensionals. Okay. There we go, like that. Then I've got my little happy birthday banner, and I am only gonna put the dimensional, I'm going to put it on the end that says happy birthday. And then I'm going to kind of just play with it a little bit here to see if I probably do need one in the middle. So just because you don't want it to sag, but then it needs to come in here. And it looks like, see how it bumps into the dimensionals under there? So you can trim it down like so, because you don't even have to have a straight cut because it's going to be hidden. See, I should have had it out a little more like that just for a little more balance, but I cut it. So I think that's going to work. So let's go ahead and take the backs off. And then making sure it's straight-ish. Remember, we don't aim for perfection here. We aim for ish. Okay. Now I'm going to take my little gems here. This is the Tinsel Gems 4-pack. You know, to be honest, I haven't looked to see if it's called something else this year because sometimes they change the name. But I do want to show you something I did. The color of these gems, this is the color, and it was just a little bit lighter. I guess it looks okay, but it was a little lighter than what I wanted. So I took my dark Moody Mauve marker and I colored over them. So it's the same color, but it's a little bit darker. And you can see how these 3 right there are a little darker than the other ones. It just brought it a little closer to what I felt matched the flowers that I had stamped. And I'm going to put one in the center of each of the flowers. And then we have one nomadic one right over there. That's what was happening earlier probably, is the one that was here was trying to visit the one over there. Okay, so now that card is done. We've got our envelope and our card. We've got the inside done. And there we go, card number 1. That one took us a little while, didn't it? Okay, card number 2. I did that without my glasses, folks. I'm pretty proud of me. Okay, move these stamps out of the way. Now card number 2. Okay, I used these guys last week, but you know how I am with my little cutie pie creatures. I love them, and so I had to use them again this week. Fluffiest Friends, and of course I use the coordinating dies with them. There's fun little dies in this. I really like that there's some extra things. Like you've got the dies of the different creatures. I can't say it, you guys. Creatures or critters, whatever you're trying to say. I was trying to say them both at the same time. But then you've also got some extras, the little leaves, the little beehive and a twig and some grass and a balloon. So you've got a few extras there. We're also going to use the Biggest Wish stamp set. Another little tip I want to give you. My stamps were getting pretty, I've had this stamp set for a couple of years now, and I don't know what the word is. They weren't drying out, but they were losing their stickiness. So when I would stick them into the case, I would open this up and find them all over the place because they weren't sticking. So they also didn't stick to the stamp blocks as well. All I did is I took each one of these, and on the back side did just a little tiny drop of dish soap, and then with hot water, and just kind of washed it with my fingers, rubbed it around, rinsed it off really well, and it brings it right back to being nice and sticky again. So that's all you have to do with these kind of stamps. Okay. So let me show you what we're gonna make. So for this one, I stamped the envelope, just the happy birthday all over the place. And then look at these little guys. Tell me how cute they are. But wait, there's more. Are you ready? Look at this little guy. Don't you love that? These are wobblers. They're called wobblers. I know it's a really formal name, right? And I just bought them on Amazon. And I love to use them every now and then. Okay, so in the inside of the card. Oh, that's good. Okay, this guy's sort of a little bit crooked because the card goes this way and he's this way. I suppose with me that's probably fitting. Okay, so standard card base. It's a half a sheet, 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle right there at 4 1/4. And this is Pool Party. I forgot to say the colors on. No, I did tell you the colors on the last one. But this is Pool Party, and then we're also going to be using the what is it called? Bubble Bath. Hold on here. Yeah, Bubble Bath. The pink Bubble Bath and Pool Party. Why are you staring at me? Lucy's staring at me like I'm supposed to be doing something for her. Okay. Let's start with our envelope. Get our stamps out. Got the happy and the birthday. And my little piece of scrap paper that goes under the flap. And I'm just kind of stamping in a random. I have to laugh because the phrase that always comes to mind is I want to say a random pattern, but if it's a pattern, it's not random. So what would you say? Let's come up with a word here, you guys. It's not a random pattern because it's not a pattern. Now we're going to do the birthday, just sort of all over the place here. Got a little bit of ink there, but oh well. Ooh, my table's really wiggly today, isn't it? Okay, so now the envelope is done. Quick and easy. Now let's do the inside of our card, and we're going to go ahead and stamp it the right direction. What do you think of that idea, folks? Got those guys. And the happy birthdays, those are the only images that I'm using. And for this, we are using the Memento black ink. We're going to be using the Stampin' Blend markers, and when you're using Stampin' Blend markers, you want to make sure to use the Memento ink. It is designed to work with that type of a marker, where if you use the Stays On ink that we have, and we'll be using that on a different card, but if you use that, it really bleeds with the markers. Okay. So we got that cute little guy. Look how chubby he is. I think that's what I love about this set, is like everybody's so chubby. And I'm going to set that aside because we're going to color it in a minute, but I want to go ahead and just get all of my stamping done first. Poop. That is not the one I meant to stamp. Okay, paper has two sides. This is the piece that's going to go on the inside. It's 5 1/4 by 4. And when you have, let's see if you can see it on the camera. I don't know if you can, but sometimes, I've talked about this before, that sometimes when you cut your paper, it gives a little lip on the edge of the paper. And I don't like that little lip. It looks like my paper is backwards. So I just take my bone folder and I flatten that little lip out, and we're good. Okay, let's do this again. Stamp this little guy right there. Ta-da, there he is. And then, clean that off. We're going to take this piece. This is the one that I want for the front of my card. I need to flatten it out. And I'm going to stamp happy birthday. It's a little bit, whoops, I don't want the happy yet. I don't want to be happy yet. I'm going to start off to the left here. Make sure it's straight. I think it's a little crooked. Now this does almost take up the whole thing, the whole space across. And you could center it if you wanted to. I just didn't want to. Okay, and then the other pieces that we need to stamp us a few bunnies. So I'm going to stamp one right here, trying my best to line it up in a way that makes sense to me so that it lines up on the other, so I can line it up kind of the same way on the other side. There we go. It's a little closer to the edge on this side than it is on that side, but it's so funny, you know, when we're doing this ourselves. Thanks, Marcia, for sharing. Random placement. Thank you, Susan. That was way better. When we're making these, we're so much harder on ourselves than anybody ever will be that looks at our stuff, right? But boy, we're really hard on ourselves. Okay, so now I've done all the stamping I need to do. We're going to do a little bit of coloring now. And I'm using a few different colors here. We're going to use, this is the dark Melon Mambo. I also have the light Smoky Slate. I have the dark Bubble Bath and the dark Pool Party. This is the part I need my glasses for. Okay, so first, just because it's a tiny little spot, I'll go ahead and get it done. And we're going to color the little cherries on all of the bunnies. Okay. Bring this guy out because I'm going to be coloring him too. My neighbor's outside, so Lucy's communicating with them. Now I'm taking the Pool Party, and on the bunnies, I'm just doing the top of the cupcake. Oops, that's not a bunny. And then I'm also going to do the little pads on the feet. I'm not coloring the whole pad, I'm just kind of coloring the shade line along the edge here. And the ears. And I'm just doing a little bit where that shade line is. And on this guy, let me see what I colored. I colored his little nose and his little feetses. Okay. Then I'm taking the dark pool party, and I'm gonna use the brush tip for this because when it's a bigger, fuller space like this, it's just quicker and easier to just use the brush tip. Now, normally, if I was using both the light and the dark pens, then what I would do is do the darker around the edge and the light in here, but I wanted the darker color. So what I'm gonna do is let that kind of soak in a little bit, and then I'm gonna come back to it and add another layer of the dark. Uh-oh, this little bunny doesn't have any feet or ears or a nose. This little bunny doesn't have a nose either. There. Okay. Now on the bunnies, I'm going to use the dark pool party to do the cupcake liner here. The reason I wanted the darker here for this is because the light one is so light that when it's a tiny little space like that, it just doesn't show up very well. Okay, now the way that I'm coloring the little guinea pig as well as the bunny is I'm taking the bullet tip and I'm just kind of going over it where these little shaded lines are. Just like so. Do this on all of them because what I want to do is I really want him to be a light gray. So I'm doing these outer edges of the gray, and then I'm going to take my color lifter and I'm going to pull that color into the center. So it just gives a little bit of the gray everywhere else. The other thing I like about this is it's not really precise, so it goes pretty quick. Check something out. That's right. And for the little feet, I did go ahead and color in the feet because it was such a small area. Okay, and last, oh, I lost my guinea pig. There he is. Okay, so, oh, I gotta do is the inside of his little ears. Again, just a little scribble. And I'm just going around the edge of the body where all these little shade marks are. Okay. Now, I find that I actually have better luck pulling color like this if I use the brush tip. You might find that the bullet tip works better for you, so just kind of play with it. Also, it works a lot better with a juicy color lifter. If it's once it's started to kind of dry out, it doesn't work as well. and it's frustrating. But see, I'm just kind of scribbling right around that gray area. And see how it's pulling some of the gray in there, but it's still giving a little bit of a shadow or a darker edge along the outside. So now let's do the bunnies. And I'm not, like on this case, I didn't go all the way to the center of the face. I left the very center white. And that also gives kind of the illusion of light and shading when you do that. Oops, I forgot to color his feet. Let's do that really quick. There. One more. And then when we're done with this bunny, we're going to go back and add a little bit of shading to that balloon for the inside of our card, because by now it should have absorbed into the paper enough that we can add a layer of coloring. And that is kind of one of the keys to adding layer, if that's, or adding, you know, different, more layers of color if you want, is give it a chance to kind of soak in first. There. And see how that made them kind of gray without being overly gray? I didn't want them super dark. Okay, now I'm going to go back and I'm taking my dark Pool Party and I'm just really highlighting . I should have just used my brush tip, but there. Okay. Now, this guy can go ahead and go to the inside of the card. See, now it's just a matter of, that took a little while, but now it's just a matter of piecing everything together. Or, well, I guess we do have to do one die cut, but okay, let's line this up. There we go. I'm going to move these out of the way. Okay, we have one die here. Where'd my dies go? There they are. They were hiding. Okay, get that little bunny. He's so cute with his little fat tummy and his cupcake. Okay, now let's get the die cut machine up here. See, this one, this is a great example of one that the little machine would have been perfectly sufficient. And a lot of times that's what I use here on my lives, but because I needed the big one for that one part, for that one card, I'll use it for all the die cutting I need. Okay, so we now peel this off. Oh, poop. See, it totally moved. Darn it. Okay, we're going to make another one really quick. Really quick, that's what we got to do. Okay. There we go. Put away my ink before I'm wearing it. Hate it when I do things like that. Hey Shannon, welcome. Hey Teresa. Okay, let's see here. Okay, color in the little cherry. Color in his little nose, his little ears, his feet. Okay. Now we're going to do the gray really quick. Good thing this goes quick, right? Okay. Quick, quick, quick. And there he is. Okay, let's try this again. Little booger. Okay, where did he go? Uh-oh. I don't know where I put my dye. I threw it away. Because of course I did. He moved a lot. I just threw it away again. Okay. There we go. Gonna line them up. Now you stay in place this time, silly die. Okay. Gonna feed this through. And when you hear all those little snap, crackles, and pops in your machine, don't worry about it. It does that. Okay, looks like it stayed in place this time. Sometimes you just got to show it who's boss. And apparently it thinks it is. I need to get more of the magnets for my dies. Okay, let's see here. Now let's try this. Let's put everything together. So we've got the front of our card. We've got this piece of bubble bath. And it is 5 1/4 by 4. Our basic white is just 1/8 of an inch smaller, so it's 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. I'm going to glue that down. And just have a very narrow little margin here. There we go. Let's go ahead and glue this down now. And now we've got a few pieces here. We have this strip of Pool Party is, hold on. This piece, our white, is 2 inches by 5 1/8. And then this is 2 1/8 by 5 1/8. And then this is 2 3/8 by 5 1/8. So piece these guys together. I did get a little bit of a mark right there, but I'm not too worried about it because our other bunny is probably gonna cover that. I forgot I needed to go all the way to the edge there. There we go. And now we'll glue this one. I've gone through 2 cards already and haven't used my liquid glue yet. That's shocking to me. I use my liquid glue all the time. Okay, line this guy up. And glue this piece down. I'm maybe going to put a little bit more adhesive on that just because it is a little heavier having the 3 layers like that. And I want to line this up so that it is kind of centered between the top of the word happy birthday and the edge of the white. So put it right about there. I like that. That looks good to me. Now we have our little bunny and our little wobbler. The wobbler is just this little tiny spring. Turn it this way so you can see the spring. And then it's got adhesive on both sides. So this full piece right here, I don't know which one is supposed to go on the card because you've got a full piece here and then you have the open piece here. And I don't know if it matters which one goes on the card and which one goes on your image, but I like to put the full piece on the card just so that when it's wobbling, it's got a little bit more of an adhesive base. And then pull it off of the top here. There we go. And we're going to just stick the bunny, stick it right there, kind of in the center of the bunny. And then, oh, perfect, because see, it did cover up that little mark right there. We're going to just stick it right there. And there we go, look at him. And our envelope, and we're done. So that was card number 2. Let's get going on card number 3. Thanks, Robin. Okay, this last card, I'm using the Be My Valentine bundle. It's the Bee Builder Punch and the Be My Valentine stamp set. Actually, move these out of the way, and I'll show you the card we're making. Just right here. It's very simple. There's the inside. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Again, another basic card base. It's 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle at, you guessed it, 4 1/4. Thanks, Talina. Judy, I love the wobblers too. Like, I don't use them on every card, and I think that's part of what makes them so fun to me is because it's just something I do now and then, so they just tickle me when I do use them. Okay, so my card base is ready. Let's go ahead and do the envelope. Let's put stuff away as I go. Now this card, the inks that we're going to use, we're going to be using the Melon Mambo, Daffodil Delight, and then we're also using the Stays On black ink. And the reason for that is when you are stamping images that are a little more solid, like those stripes on the bee, the Stays On seems to stamp a little bit bolder and better than the Memento does. So for our envelope, get our little scrap paper, stick it there. And right now I'm going to use the little honeycomb stamp and just put it somewhere. And then it takes a little bit to figure this out and get used to it, but you can line up your stamps. Sometimes I get it so it's off just a little bit, but that's all right. Oops. Wow, that's really off, isn't it? It's a little easier, I think, when I'm sitting down. Wow, this is really, really off. Okay, that doesn't look very good, but you know what? I'm not going to tell anybody if you don't. And I might have done, oh yeah, and I did it just a little bit on the front of the envelope as well. There. Well, let's at least get it going off the edge of the card there. Yeah. So there's our little honeycomb. And our envelope is done. Now we're going to do a little bit more of the honeycomb. I'm going to show you where. I have these 2 strips. They're 1/2 inch by 4 1/4, I think. Yeah, 1/2 inch by 4 1/4. And we're going to stamp the honeycomb on there as well. So I'm just going to line these up together. If they're not perfect, it doesn't matter. Actually, you know what? It might be easier to just do one at a time, because I'm not having to line quite as much up. Oops, it's off a little bit, but again, not a super huge deal. It was stuck. Okay, so there's one. Do the other one. I'm going a little bit fast, and so I'm not lining them up quite as well as I could, but I really don't even know if it matters if they're not perfect. As I was saying before, sometimes it matters more to us than it does to the people who look at our cards anyway. So I'm going to close this, and now I've got these adorable little hearts, and I'm going to take the Melon Mambo and just stamp a few random hearts. Going in kind of different patterns, different directions. Yes, it just gives, by doing the different patterns and different directions, it gives a little movement to the picture. There. With our random placement. See, I used it. I used our word or a phrase. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip these over, but I'm going to make sure which direction my hearts are going, because we're going to start piecing some stuff together here. And I have 3 strips here that are 1/4 inch wide. I have them in Melon Mambo, and I have Daffodil Delight. The Daffodil Delight is going to go in the middle, and yes, I know it's a little bit long. Doesn't matter. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and take some of my Terran tape, if I can find the end of it on the roll. And I'm just trying to go like that to tape it all together. And then I'm going to add the Melon Mambo pieces. Make sure I'm going the right direction here. Okay. Probably doesn't really matter which direction the tape goes. As you can see, I went one direction. You know, I went this way with the yellow one, and now I'm going horizontal with the Melon Mambo. I don't think it really matters. Especially because I'm just taping these pieces together. They're actually going to be, oh, this one seems like it's a little bit short. They're going to be mounted onto a bigger piece anyway. Oh, that's quite a bit shorter. Okay, so now I have my tape that holds all these little pieces together, right? So now I have a piece of Daffodil Delight that is 2 inches by 4 1/4. And so I'm just going to line it up this way. Going to glue everything down. Ooh, it's pressing a little hard there. Okay, I'm going to line it up here. Got a very narrow margin here because it's only about 1/8 of an inch wider than these little strips add up to. Okay, now find my little, where are my little scissors? Oh, there they are. Okay. I just want to get rid of that little extra piece right there. It was bugging me. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece of basic white. Make sure I've got the right one. Okay. This piece of basic white, it is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And what we're going to do is we're just going to line it up diagonally. You want to make sure that you do it in such a way, like if you do too much of a tilt, you see how it leaves that edge open there. So just make sure that you've got all your corners covered there. So we're going to glue that down. And I'm putting it, it's not, I would say it's about 3/4 of an inch from the bottom on the right-hand side. And then just tilted to make sure that my edges, my corners line up like that. And now I'm just going to trim this extra off. Okay, oh, that's kind of a weird little cut there. You know what? I'm going to trim a little bit of extra off because I just don't like, you can't see it, I don't think, but up close I can, where it isn't quite reaching the edge there. So I just want to trim that off because that bothers me. There we go. There. And you can see I just trimmed off a teeny tiny little bit. Okay, now we're going to mount this onto the piece of Melon Mambo. And we're going to mount this onto our card. I didn't use any ribbon this week. Did you notice that? I love my ribbon, so that's kind of surprising. Okay, so put this on our basic black card front. Now I've got, oh, we did do the inside of the card. What did I do on the inside? Probably just some honeycomb. Oh, I did more than just a honeycomb. Let's do this then. So a little bit of honeycomb in the corner. And you just leave that like that. And then my sentiment is, you're as sweet as honey. I could use my Memento ink for this, but since I'm already using the StazOn for the other parts, I don't need to switch back and forth. But StazOn does stain your stamps. It's not a big deal. It's not like the ink will transfer to everything that you stamp from here on out. Once you clean your stamp, it will, the stamp is stained as in colored, but it won't transfer that color to other projects. Okay, and then one last little detail. We've got those little hearts again, and the Melon Mambo ink. Just up in the corner, just like so. And we glue this to the inside of the card. Okay, now we have a little circle that I used the Stylish Shapes dies to create that. And then I have a little piece of vellum and a piece of basic white. These are just scraps, so there's no specific size to them except for making sure that my stamped image would fit on them. So first, let's do the stays on. We're going to do the wings. When you are stamping on a paper like vellum that is not as porous as regular paper, as like our cardstock, you want to use the stays on for that. Stays on is designed to dry on these types of surfaces, whereas the other inks, if you use them, they just don't really dry. Okay, I'm going to set that aside because it does give it just a little bit of extra time to dry. And then I'm going to use my Daffodil Delights to make my little fat bee body. I'm starting to see a theme. I like the fat little critters. Again, maybe it just makes me feel better about myself. There we go. And then we've got the bee with his little stinger there. And I'm going to use the Stays On ink for this because I like that it gives me a little bit bolder stamp. It's not quite lined up just right, but that's okay. Is that just okay? No, it's not okay. I'll tell you, it's a whole lot easier to line stuff up when I'm sitting at my desk versus, oh no, we don't want to do that, versus doing it standing up over it like this. Okay, let's try this again. My head's going to probably get in the way. I guess that's better. And then we've got this cute little bee face. Okay, put the ink away. And now we're going to use our Bee Builder punch to punch him out. So what you want to do is you want to get him lined up in here. Now this piece of paper is a little bit small to be able to, maneuver it around. And when that's the case, I'll show you what I do. I take a pair of tweezers. Yep, get in there. And I can use my tweezers to kind of push it around a little bit to get it lined up where I need it. Because my fat little, oh, I see what the problem is. I need to just trim off a little bit of this. There we go. It was up too high. But see, I can line it up this way, get it lined up where I want it. This is, for me, the worst part of punching stuff like this. Okay, let's see. Get it lined up. I think I didn't stamp it quite right, and that's why it's... That's my problem. I made his little butt white. Okay, hang on. We got to do this again. We don't want our bee to have a little white butt. Thank you for humoring me, folks. Let's try this again. Goodness gracious. Okay. He's going to be perfect this time. He's going to be the perfect little bumblebee. Oops. Oh, okay. I keep that little plastic lid because it does help keep the ink from drying out as fast. And then I just use dimensionals to hold it in the lid. Okay, are we ready? I can do this, you guys. I can do this. I'm going to line up the tail. There, so much better. Okay. Oh, forgot to do his little face. He needs a face. I don't know. Something about that face looks creepy to me. Like, he needs eyebrows, I think. Okay, now let's try punching out our little bee again. Now it will fit better because I stamped it closer to the bottom for one, and the body wasn't quite so long because I stamped the stripes where I was supposed to stamp them. So I'm lining it up. It's lining up much, much better. Look at that, so much better. And now we're going to punch out our wings also. And I'm going to need to trim this. So I'm just getting it to line up. Okay. Now I'm going to use a glue dot to glue the wings to the bee. I lost my glue dot. Don't know where it went. I'm out of control at this point, you guys. It's been a long day, I think. Okay, so I've got my wings. And I'm just putting the glue dot, I don't know how well you can see this on the camera because I can't even see it real well in real life, but I just put the glue dot right there. And I just kind of line it up on the back of his body. There we go. And now I'm going to put dimensionals on the bee because of course I am. Oh, I found that I found that glue dot that was missing. It was stuck to my finger. Probably didn't need 3 whole glue dots or dimensionals for him, but that's okay. And I'm going to stick him onto the circle, just kind of center him on there. And then I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of the circle. And stick this down to our card. Oh, that's a really good idea. Mary says she sticks the small pieces on a sticky note so she has something to hold on to as she's lining it up in the punch. That's a really good idea. Okay, so now I'm going to put him here. Do I want him at a bit of an angle? No, I do not. So I'm going to put him right there. And last little bit is we're going to take some of these glossy dot assortment and put some glossy dots on here. You know, those are the medium-sized ones. I think I want to use the little ones. I do like these glossy dots. I like the fact that you got 3 different sizes and you have quite a few of each color. And they're nice and bright. There. And now the card is finished with our, oh, this is the card where I said I stamped on the card. So as long as it all lines up when I send the card, it'll be fine. So now that's card number 3. So I hope you guys liked those. Okay, let's go ahead and put a few things away, and then we'll take one last look at everything that we made tonight. If you enjoyed what we did, you had fun, I would love to see those hearts and the likes and thumbs up and all that good stuff. It helps tell the algorithm that this might be something people would enjoy watching and putting it out there more. Plus, it helps stroke my ego, and who doesn't need that, right? And then also, if you are watching this on YouTube, or if you go over to my YouTube page, make sure that you subscribe and follow. If you click on the little bell on there, then you'll get notifications when whenever I put new stuff up there. Okay, so, and of course, if you don't have a demonstrator that you already work with, I would love to earn your business. You can shop online at heathersides.stampinup.net. You can also contact me for a catalog, one of our new annual catalogs, if you would like one. Okay, so here are, we've got our bees and our bunnies and our flowers. So what do you think of these? I'll move them down a little bit. What do you think of these today? I had a lot of fun with them. I hope you enjoyed them. And my dog is trying to take my slipper right off of my foot. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. I love our time together. I really did miss it while I was taking some time off for just a little bit of self-love, little self-healing. You know how it is sometimes. So anyway, again, thank you for joining us every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time here at Facebook.com/Stamp Happenings. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.